Assalamu alaikum, family.
Alaikum.
This is a mighty pioneer with us in the Nation of Islam. He sold it for quite a number of years. We're interviewing his name is Brother Karriem Muhammad. So we're just going to jump right into it, okay? So what were the circumstances surrounding you joining the Nation of Islam?
Peace be. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, thank you for the question. The circumstances was I had been a Seventh-day Adventist for many years, and a brother who owned a restaurant invited me to come out, and he told me that Brother Malcolm was coming to the temple in Boston, and I wanted to know what was he going to be talking about. I said because he said, well, you're going to talk about the black man in America. And I said, well, what do you want to know? And I said, after all, I'm satisfied because I have Jesus
Yes,
in my
sir.
life.
Yes, sir.
So he said, brother, we have a temple and we would like to invite you to come down to the temple. I said, well, what are you talking about? And he said, we're talking about the history of the black nation, and they represent the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And in Boston, where I live, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was a minister. And so I couldn't wait to get down there because I wanted to find out what they was talking about.
Yes, sir.
Wanted to know if they was going to have something to improve upon what I already knew.
Yes, sir.
Because I knew about Jesus.
You got the right teacher.
When I went there that particular day, Brother Malcolm was speaking.
Yes, sir.
And so when the question and answer period came up, and they asked me, did I understand what I just heard? And I said, yes, I did. And he said, would you like to join? And I leaped out of the chair that I was sitting in, and I told him, yes, I would like to join.
Praise be to
And
Allah.
so this is my first visit to the temple mosque. And so I joined that very day. But it took me 2 packs of lineless paper to write my letter. I was so eager to get in and find out what it was that these people were talking about.
Yes, sir.
So, therefore, I was just wanting everybody to know why I'm in the nation. Been here since 1960. All praise due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. So, it looks like the circumstances surrounding you, you joined the Nation of Islam, pretty significant. Pretty significant. I know you were proud. I know you've discussed with us plenty of times. You were proud Seventh-day Adventist. So you had, some blowback. I know once you first joined in. So the circumstances surrounding it, were pretty.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because I was the second assistant to the leader in the 400-member Seventh-day Adventist church, and everybody got mad at me, wanting to know why I was leaving. They say, you leaving Jesus? I said, no, I haven't learned about the real Jesus.
There we go. Yes, sir. Praise
and
be to Allah.
they wanted me to leave. They wanted me to leave the church. I said, no, you can't run me off from the church. And as a result of that, Allah blessed me to bring my wife, Brother John and Sister Ella, who still live in the Atlanta area right now, and 2 mothers, 5 people that Allah blessed me to bring into the temple, as we call it then, in Boston. All praise God. Under the leadership of Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. So if you don't mind, I know back in that time, I'm a young fruit. You've been on this alert for many years, longer than I have. But if you could, just tell me what was your earliest memory in becoming a believer and follower of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan.
With my greatest memory?
Your earliest memory.
Because my earliest memory was I always wanted to enlighten black people about their history.
Yes, sir.
And I was so joyful to learn that this group of people known as the Nation of Islam, their background seemed to me was that they would teach us about the history of the black man.
Yes, sir.
And so, while then I had been working with the Seventh-day Adventists, selling their magazine and everything, But when Donald Elijah Muhammad in 1960 started the Muhammad Speaks at that time,
Yes, sir.
he asked us to give as much as we could in order to help start the Muslim newspaper,
Yes, sir.
which was called the Muhammad Speaks.
Yes, sir.
And so I had, for my first oldest daughter, I had a piggy bank with $10 in it. And I brought it to the temple.
Mm.
And some of the believers, I guess, didn't quite understand about the piggy bank because
Yes,
I've been off the hog a long time in the
Yes,
Seventh Church. And so I gave that to help start the Muhammad Speaks newspaper in October in 1960.
Oh,
praise
praise
be to
be to
Allah.
Allah. Praise be to Allah. So that's a huge sacrifice, Brother Karriem. I tell you that. You take it from your daughter in order to start the newspaper.
Yes,
but I mean that was a wise investment, as you
Yes,
know,
sir.
because
Yes, sir.
then the Muhammad Speaks, it became the most widely circulated black-owned newspaper in the
Praise
world.
be
To
to
now,
Allah.
it's led into the Final Call, which we distribute
Yes,
to this day. So we know without your sacrifice
Yes,
back
sir.
then, we
Praise.
wouldn't be pushing the Final Call now. So thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much, Brother Karriem.
Yes, sir.
Next question is name a person in the ranks that greatly influenced you. Why or how?
When I was in the church, there was a brother named Brother Raph.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain, Captain Clancy at that time, he assigned him to me because he knew I was so energetic in learning new things. He told the brothers, the brother Brother Raph,
Yes, sir.
would tell me everything he wanted me to know, and he would go with me and show me how to sell the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. And so that was the Brother Raph, who was with me, and I was very happy to have him to guide me in the selling of the Muhammad Speaks newspaper.
Well, go ahead, Brother Rad. Appreciate you, soldier.
Yeah.
What were some of your happiest moments being a member of the Nation of Islam?
Oh, praises due to Allah. I'm so glad you asked me that. My happiest moments, because being a Seventh-day Adventist, and also I always have been a black militant.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, Patrice Lumumba of the Congo, he had been slain by the Caucasians. And then he was my hero before coming to the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
And I was very angry about that. And so when I went to actually Minister Farrakhan, the truth about Patrice Lumumba, and he gave me the truth, and I was so very happy. I would like to, if I may, mention
sir.
about the
Yes, sir.
first time I accepted teaching, and Brother Malcolm was teaching, and when they asked for acceptance, wanted to know who wanted to accept. I love to talk about this because I said I leaped up out of the chair.
Yes, sir.
And then I was still at Seventh-day Adventist, and I told the minister I wanted to leave the church. The minister said, "No, brother, stay in the church."
Yes, sir.
And I was, it was very soon that I learned why the minister wanted me to stay in the church, because he knew that I had the ability to bring other people out.
Yes, sir.
And so, with that, as I think I said before, and I like to keep repeating it, Allah had blessed me to bring in, at that time, there was about 5 in the number 11 in Boston. And soon thereafter, Allah has blessed me to bring people in the state of North Carolina, my sister-in-law, and then in Augusta, Georgia. And I've been very happily and enjoyably bringing people out to the temple, because it gives me all the joy in the world, and to be allowed to be on the rostrum to help. But the main thing is to be there to help them understand what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching us.
Praise be to Allah, Brother Karriem. And I too can bear witness, just hearing, the joy you have when you're on the rostrum, whenever you're speaking to anybody, whether it be a youth or, a senior or a pioneer, you can still feel that same love that you had way back, and that same energy that you had way back when you first joined. So I appreciate you, Brother Karriem. Thank you so much.
Something just came to mind I want to bring to the believers, is that I would, of course, go to Providence, Rhode Island, Portland, Maine, and Newton, Massachusetts, to sell the Muhammad Speaks newspaper.
Yes, sir.
And I had 7 brothers that would follow me around in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they wanted to know who has been teaching me this. And I told Minister Lewis. Of course, he was known as Minister Lewis back then. And I asked the minister, would he come to Lowell and teach this group? We had 7 brothers that were going to be there on that Tuesday night.
Yes, sir.
And the minister agreed to come up there and to teach them. And I was so happy because it gave me a lot of thrill and a lot of satisfaction that I could bring people together so the minister could teach them.
Oh, yeah, you got that right. The man of God.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We're going to move right on to the next question, okay?
Yes, sir.
Name your favorite aspect of the teachings. Include books, subjects, or lectures. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Brother, thank you so much. That is very much was on my mind because being a helper in the Seventh Adventist Church and thought I knew a lot about the teachings. And so when you mind repeating the question again?
Yes, sir.
I'm 86 years of age, if you forgive me, and I have to be reminded of the question the second time. Go ahead, brother.
That's okay, brother. Name your favorite aspect of the teachings. Include books, subjects, and or lectures.
Well, of course, the books at that time was the Bible. Of course, being a Seventh Adventist, everybody loved to read the Bible.
Yes, sir.
But I could remember. This book in the Bible about Noah and the story about Lot, and I can't remember just yet because so many things that come to mind. But who is the original man?
Yes, sir.
This is some of the things that I was very happy to talk about when I was in the street, and that's what helped me be so successful in bringing people to the temple.
Yes, sir.
And very rarely that I came out of the temple that I didn't have a guest with me.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I'm so happy and thankful that Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan taught me how to approach people and how to not to argue with them, but to be able to show them when they ask questions about who the original man was in our lesson. So this would help me to bring them in. Very seldom was there a day, Sunday or Wednesday, that I didn't have guests with me.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
So I guess to answer that question, I don't want to assume, but I'll just kind of summarize. Your favorite aspect of the teachings would be the subjects.
Yes,
which would be, the famous, questions as to who is the original man.
Yes, sir.
There we go. So praise be to Allah.
Because I always have been a historian.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And learning that my ancestors had came from the country of Ghana in Africa. That's what gave me a lot of impetus.
Yes, sir.
To find out more about myself.
Go ahead, Brother Karriem. All praise due to Allah. Did you ever meet the messenger of Allah?
Praise is due to Allah. I'm so glad you asked that question. And I don't remember the exact year, but when Dr. Lightfoot Mashar invited Honorable Elijah Muhammad to speak in Washington, D.C., and I was on the the security line.
Yes, sir.
When Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this is the first time I met him, and the brothers told me, said, "Brother, we're in security now." And I was so excited to see the messenger, I leaned over so my shoulder could brush him when he came past us walking. And brothers told me, said, "Brother, you're going to get busted." I said, "Well, they just have to bust me because that is the messenger of Allah."
Go ahead. Praise be to Allah. Now, if you could have spoken with him, if you did, what would you have said to him?
I would have said to him, "I heard that you're from Georgia. And that's where I am from."
Yes, sir.
And I would like to take this short minute to point something out that happened when I was about 14 years of age, 15. We lived in the country in Georgia, and we was on the farm. And one evening, just before sundown, this gentleman walked up in the yard. I asked my father if he could sleep in the farm,
Yes, sir.
in the barn, on the hay. And my father told him, said, "Sir, you can go. You can sleep with my brother and his two sons, my brother and myself." And this gentleman told me, said, "No, I don't want you to have so many children." My dad had about 12 at the time. He said, "I'll just sleep in the barn." So the next morning we got up. I was getting some firewood for my mother to cook breakfast. And this gentleman came back out from the barn, and he began to talk to us. And so when he began to talk, and he asked us if I had any question, I asked him, "Could you tell us a little about this story about Abraham and this always kills me, the Abraham in the Bible, and about Jesus?" And he explained to us that who the original man was and who was the Asiatic black man. And he talked to us, and ever since then, it kept in my mind until I moved to Boston, and I remember, and that's when he was at the Uline Arena in Boston, at the John Hancock Hall, the first time I saw him in person. And that, when they announced the captain and the minister was escorting the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on stage, and I was so excited and so overwhelmed. I had on a brand new suit, and I tore the suit up when the messenger started to speak. And I hooped and cried like a person. The brother tried to calm me down. And so the lieutenant was sitting beside me, told me, said, "Leave that brother alone." And from that day, praise to God, till this day, I have been so excited that I was at that meeting at that time, which was January the 6th, a Sunday evening in 1961.
Go ahead.
That's when I first saw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
What personal or national accomplishments in your nation are you most proud of?
Oh, praise due to Allah. The most and the greatest thing I was proud of is being able to sell at that time the Muhammad Speaks newspaper.
Yeah, that's the number.
And the next thing that made me so proud and happy is I had the ability to bring 5 people out of the Seventh Adventist Church, which I was a member, and they joined the Seventh Adventist Church, and all praise due to Allah. To my knowledge, they're still in the nation.
Praise be to Allah, brother. That's a huge accomplishment there, brother.
Yes,
We're going to move right along. Okay?
Yes, sir.
How did your experience in the Nation of Islam mold you as a person?
Oh, praise due to Allah. I'm so glad you asked that question. It gave me confidence, because being at that time I was part of the national, what you call them, militants? National.
Wasn't the Black Panthers? I know that.
It was the, man. You must forgive me, I'm a little bit forgetful at the age of 86.
That's all right, brother.
But the thing is, I did want to say this, gave me the most, so you mind repeating the question?
No, sir. How did your experience in the Nation of Islam mold you as a person?
Oh, it molded me and gave me the reason why I was so, always have been concerned about the plight of black people.
Yes, sir.
And everybody, even my elders used to call me militant. I never knew what the word was. But since coming to the Nation of Islam, it gave me a reason and the proper way to invite people. Because I never came out to the temple unless I brought somebody with me.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
So it gave you that confidence.
Yes, sir.
And that added flavor and that added understanding to your militancy as a black man.
And I would like to say that when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad started the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, always would go, follow instructions, go door to door.
Yes, sir.
To sell this paper. And all surrounding, like Providence, Rhode Island, Worcester, Massachusetts, and Portland, Oregon, and Providence, Rhode Island, etc. always went wherever the people would be and be happy to present it. Yes, and when the paper was selling for 10 cents when we first started, it went up to 15, etc., etc. And I was doing my job, to make sure that I had some guests to bring out to hear Minister Louis Farrakhan.
You still doing that to this day, brother. Thank you so much, soldier. Got a few more questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Name some specific events or types of events you remember participating in the most.
Oh, praise due to Allah. The first one I remember is Savior's Day in 1961.
Yes, sir.
It was in Chicago, Illinois, and Boston to Chicago is 1,000 miles. And we drove that distance, and that's the first time I saw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And brothers, and whoever want to hear this and hear me, honestly, when I saw that man, I cried and I shouted because this is the first time knowing exactly who he was. And so that is the most exciting thing because it gave me impetus to, when I got back to Boston, to continue to work harder and harder to bring our people into the knowledge of self.
Say as they'll do it, man.
And I always would sell the Muhammad Speaks newspaper because I believe that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the man to save the black man and woman in America.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
What are the most important lessons you've learned being a member of the Nation of Islam?
First one lesson is to study my lesson. Who is the original man? And who is the colored man? And why were we so wrongfully brought from our native country in Africa? And the most significant thing that stands out to me is when Patrice Lumumba was slain. And it touched my heart so much. And when the ministers or anyone else would ask the question about that, I always would refer back to what I had learned by the death of Patrice Lumumba, because he was struggling trying to unite his people and to free them, and he lost his life in this during that time, and that's what made me work harder to get our people to come into the Nation of Islam.
Praise be to Allah. So I'll definitely bear witness to that too. Then one of the most important lessons is study.
Yes, sir.
And the minister always tells us we have to be able to study, make sure we're constantly studying to
Yes,
evolve
sir.
in these teachings and
Yes, sir.
evolve ourselves as well. So praise be to Allah for that,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
And what was your favorite things to do for fun as believers and as a family? How do you like to enjoy yourself, Brother Karriem?
First of all, sir,
I said, how do you like to enjoy yourself? What you do for fun?
only fun I had after I came to the Nation of Islam is to try to teach everybody I came in contact with about this teaching and try to get them to listen in order to prepare them for the next meeting. And we had meetings, of course, on Wednesdays and Fridays and Sundays. So I would always have some guests that I could bring to the temple to hear the Honorable Minister Farrakhan speak. And so, being a person that loved black people in the beginning anyway, I always would have a guest, and this gave me a lot of joy and satisfaction.
So it sounds like to me the most fun for you was the first mission that we had, which was the resurrection of our people. You love to fish.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
Go ahead, bro.
Yes, sir.
What world events had the most impact on you after you became a member of the Nation of Islam?
Oh, praise is due to Allah. I'm so glad you asked that. Well, that is when I was mentioning that my first Savior's Day, when 4 brothers in the car drove all the way 1,000 miles from Boston to Chicago to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on my first Savior's Day, and I was very excited and happy to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all the believers in our schools and everything that we had accomplished in Chicago. And that's the most happiest day in my life up to that point.
Praise be to Allah. Now, what world events? What was going on in the world that had the most impact on you after you became a member of the Nation of Islam?
Thank you so much for that question, because as I said, I was a black-minded person, and the Belgian government had invaded the Congo, and they had killed Patrice Lumumba, who was my hero. Of course, at that time, I did not know about the nation when I first heard about Patrice Lumumba, and I was very upset and very mad about it. And as I said earlier, when I visited the temple in Boston, number 11, the first time, and when they asked me, did I have any questions? And I told them, I want to know if they knew who killed Patrice Lumumba and who was backing it all. And they explained to me that it was the Belgian government backed by the United States government. And I was so upset about that swing. So the Minister of Farrakhan, told me, brother, what we would like for you to do, if you love Patrice Lumumba, keep coming out and you can get a better understanding of why they killed him, why they invaded the Congo, because it was rich in minerals and oil and oil. And that's the thing that upset me so much. But I would want to know, is there anything I could do? And Brother Minister told me, is come on and prepare yourself to go in the streets of Boston and all the surrounding communities and spread the news in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. And all praise to God, that is what I've done. And I'm so thankful that we have the Final Call newspaper, and I'm still selling the Final Call newspaper, going to Sandersville, Washington, Georgia, and all the surrounding areas in order to inform the people what they need to do to stop being Negroes. And that's another thing I'm so happy that I found out what being a Negro meant.
It's praise be to Allah, Brother Karriem. Was there anything going on around you in the world after you joined the Nation of Islam that impacted you? I know you mentioned Patrice Lumumba before you came in. What about it? Was there anything going on in the world after you came in?
Yes, sir.
That had an impact on you?
Yes, sir. When I told the minister that I was from North Carolina at the time when I went to Boston, I wanted to go back and start a temple.
Yes, sir.
And the minister always told me, brother, it'd be better to you be prepared. So if I were you, I would wait a while before you left. And then he told me about a brother from Charlotte, North Carolina, Brother Larry, that it would be better for me to go and study under him, because he's a minister that helped set up number 27 in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
And he told me to go to Charlotte and study under him, and that would prepare me better to become a minister.
Yeah, praise be to Allah. Now, last question. How would you like to be remembered?
Is someone who, after my first hearing the teaching of Islam, as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is to submit and do all I can to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and spread the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, now the Final Call newspaper. And I want to be known as a person who was a submitting member of the Nation of Islam and who would strive hard to bring as many people as I could in. And I can name those from Boston, North Carolina, and Georgia, and Virginia that I have brought in, and most of them are still in. All praise to Allah. Still in the Nation of Islam. I'm very happy to be working with those here in the city of Augusta, and we are striving hard to make our word bond. And I'm doing everything I can to encourage and to show them what it meant to me to be a submitting member of the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And ever since I've known him, he always have given me encouragement and tell me I was doing a good job, and I'm so thankful to Allah for that.
Praise be to Allah, Brother Karriem. Well, you are the true definition of a pioneer. Has it not been for you and various other people, I wouldn't be in the Nation of Islam. I wouldn't have nobody's shoulder to stand on, brother. So thank you so much for taking out a little bit of time of your day to do these questions. As you were speaking, I'm learning more about you. As a pioneer, I know you've taken time out to discuss with me things, various aspects of your own life. But as I've learned about you, I've also learned more about my own nation, which is the point of this whole pioneer project is for us, the youth, and for the ones that haven't even joined yet. So we will have a history of our nation, and our history lies within great brothers and sisters like yourself, and us extracting those stories and those events from you all. So we got that on camera. So thank you so much, Brother Karriem, for doing this for us. And inshallah, this will be a great benefit to the nation.
I just want to say this, Brother Ockman, as I knew your father, a good minister in the nation, and to have you here as brother in charge, as captain, right? Yes, sir. And I'm so grateful that generations of generations I've known a long time and still have learned, because one of the brothers in Huntsville was in Boston with me, and he was in Huntsville when I came to visit Huntsville, and we had a hallelujah good time, and all praise due God, good time in Huntsville. So I know you come from good stuff. Thank you so much, and I hope and pray, Allah, that something I've done, example I set, is beneficial and pleasing to the minister and Almighty Allah.
Praise be to Allah. So
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.